But we can find a way together.
You know what? That's nice, and that's really heartfelt. But y'all are some bad people. Let's talk about these thunderbolts over here. Ooh, look at that. That's a lot of bolts in that thunder right there.
Sure is.
Yeah, that's based on the Marvel comic. So, seems like every comic book universe, there's so much going on that, the good guys just can't handle it all the time. You had they're busy. They're busy trying to do enough. Sometimes it takes it takes a bad guy to handle a worse guy. You had the Suicide Squad. Marvel has the Thunderbolts. And I don't know, some other comic company has the shitheads or something. I don't I don't know, but you already see there's some shady people in there. Bullseye, he's not a good guy. Who else?
Baron Zemo, I see.
Baron Zemo,
Ultron, and
Red Hulk.
Skrulls.
Yeah, Red Hulk is in there, boy. Yeah, man. It's
that's it. Ultron.
Yeah, I see Ultron.
How they control Ultron?
Ghost Rider's up in there. Some of these people are wild cards, if nothing else. If they're not just flat out bad, damn, they even got that thing of man thing up in there. Yeah, man. Well, that's a lot of bad people right there. We ain't got time to deal with all that right now, so they had to narrow it down for this movie version of the Thunderbolts. And it's not too much different from any of these concepts that we've seen with any of these kind of properties or, comic book companies doing this. They brought together in this case, in this movie right here, the Thunderbolts are brought together under dubious circumstances. And they brought together Marvel's lower tier undesirables that are forced to work together to stop the latest, biggest threat to the planet, and in the process, expose somebody who's probably a bigger asshole than they are.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I thought we were bad.
Yeah, otherwise we wouldn't have anything to root for.
Right.
So, let's go ahead and see. Let's see this trailer for Thunderbolts, and we'll be back with our review.
That's why we need each other.
But we can find a way together.
You know what? That's nice, and that's really heartfelt. But y'all are some bad people. Y'all are some real assholes, man. Y'all really are. I mean, we're familiar with these people. If you don't know who the current version of the Thunderbolts are for this movie, if you've been following Marvel, you've seen them at some point. We have Black Widow's sister right there, Yelena.
Yeah.
You have U.S. Agent. You have Ghost that we met in one of the Ant-Man movies. You have Taskmaster, one of the worst Black Widows out there. Bucky Barnes, probably one of the best ones on there, but we all know he's done something.
Yeah, he's got a shady past.
Got a real bad past.
And everybody, oh man, I love that Red Guardian. He's so funny, and he hasn't really been shown to do anything bad. But we know he did.
I mean, he's a Russian, so
yeah, he's a Russian agent. Yeah, he's done something. Yeah, he's always cracking jokes, trying to act like he's better than everybody else. But you done some dirt too. You ain't fooling nobody. And if you, like I said, if you kept up with Marvel, then you know that all of them have done really anywhere from morally questionable things to just downright awful and horrible things.
a lot of murder.
A lot of murder.
A lot of bodies on their scorecard.
Oh yeah, man.
John Walker.
Yeah. John Walker's probably one of the worst on there,
Right.
and ain't trying to change.
Hell no.
He's a bigger asshole than we saw when he was on Captain America and the Falcon. But as you can see, these characters are about as B, C, and D list as you can get. First of all, they're all supporting characters in somebody else's movie or show. And nobody asked for them to have a spinoff of anything. Like, no matter what you've been talking about with Marvel, ain't nobody say, man, I want to see a damn Red Guardian spinoff. Ain't nobody asked for that. Ain't nobody asked for Yelena, Bucky already had his.
Right.
Yeah, but, and U.S. Agent, man, I don't want to deal with that piece of shit. No, all these people, chances are you never asked for them to have their own spinoffs. But hey, together, maybe that's a bit of a different thing. But the thing is, they don't have superpowers. Some of them do, but all of their powers are
They're low level.
Yeah. Like either they have no superpowers or they're, oh my God, they have a low budget version of somebody else's powers.
Right.
Like John Walker is a low budget version of Captain America.
Yeah. I mean, you got 3 with the super soldier serum in it.
Right.
And what a tech suit, and Lelena has guns and stingers.
Yeah, exactly. Like
They don't just mimic your shit.
Yeah.
like with U.S. Walker, like your boy Steve Rogers, he got that good Gatorade.
Yeah.
U.S. Agent got Sunny D. So
That's all we had left.
He didn't even get Powerade or anything like that. So yeah, man, it's
He didn't get Powerade.
you got some fake orange juice, man.
That Timu shit, man. There you go.
Yeah, like if they do have superpowers, like him, his is lame, or like Ghost, all right, so you can vibrate for 10 seconds and disappear and walk through walls.
Yeah.
Cool, I guess.
I mean, it's better than what I
everybody
got.
say shit, but we got
No, it's better than what we got, but we don't matter. They're supposed to be saving us. They work for us. Ain't nobody here is a Hulk. Nobody here can fly. Nobody's an Iron. No one's a super genius. In fact, they're all kind of stupid in their own kind of way.
Sure.
I mean, they got skills. They can do things, but because they just work better alone. They all make bad decisions. So they're mostly.
I mean, most of them are assassins too.
Yeah, they're assassins also. They're good at that. They're good at killing people. That's about it. And so a lot of them are reduced to just the punch and shoot method. And they still probably won't get the job done if they have to work together, because, as I said, they all work better alone, because they're probably very selfish, self-centered. They also suffer from guilt, depression.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
They got some issues going on, man, that makes them all a liability.
Yeah. Everybody keeps talking about, it's the Suicide Squad. It's like, no, it's the Suicidal Squad.
They're one little thing away. But say, you know what?
Yeah. But let's just say if I had a better help ad to play right now, this would be the time. I don't, but y'all get some help out there. But yeah, and immediately when you get them together, whether it's by design or I'm sure whether they just ran into each other by accident, they're all ready to take whatever problems they have out on each other.
God damn it, just get up.
You better be quick.
There was everybody else in that room. She said, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
I want her.
Stay out of my way.
No, Thunderbolts beating each other's asses. But as you just saw with that clip right there, some really cool fighting scenes, and everybody has their time to shine to show whatever special skill that they have in those fighting scenes right there. And for the reasons that I talked about, the lack of superpowers are really good superpowers. Their flawed natures, and also as I was saying, just because the fighting scenes are so cool, I think this plays out more, and this is where this movie benefits over a lot of movies we've seen recently from Marvel, in my opinion. This feels more like an action film, and the real tone of this kind of goes back to like feeling more like Iron Man in a way. Iron Man still leads more towards comics, and so does this movie too. But it just has that kind of feel. It's still a comic book movie, but with enough grittiness and well-developed character moments, really cool dialogue, that starts to make this feel like a departure from the usual superhero format that we've been experiencing with Marvel and maybe some other places too.
Yeah, we don't get that whole thing where everybody's super powered. These are more on a human scale.
Yeah.
And they're very flawed characters, so they're a lot easier to relate to. And also, so often it's such a tired trope that two superheroes get together and they immediately, I don't know you, and we got to fight.
Yeah.
And it's like, every time, nobody says like, hey, let's talk this out first so we can avoid this. But with the way these characters are, it makes perfect sense that they would be fighting and trying to kill each other.
The way, not only the way they are, it's their nature.
Yeah.
Right,
I think they sit around punching themselves sometimes.
They have a mission. They go after it.
Yeah, but it's their nature to be this way. But I'm not gonna say too much. But it's also the way they brought them together. Without saying anything at all, the way they brought them together, it makes sense for what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just getting brought together and like, I don't like you. I don't like you either. And they just start fighting. No, I was just kind of like, no, this is the way it was supposed to go down. And with this, what I really like about it is that they do really embrace the grittiness that's going on here.
Yeah.
Unlike where some other characters in the Marvel universe that we've been seeing, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they've tried to say, oh, those guys, they're a bunch of assholes.
Led by Yondu Udanta.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know how this machine.
What a bunch of a-holes.
No, they're lovable rogues and scoundrels.
Yes. Lovable rogues.
Yeah. They ain't no big assholes, not compared to what we're seeing right here. Or they're not doing this thing, unlike Loki, where they just tried to sweep under the rug that he committed cold-blooded murder.
God damn.
That boy did.
Yeah, that was grotesque. And Marvel's for years been like, what? I don't remember that.
Right.
Loki, he's good. He's a trickster.
It wasn't him.
But he said, no, I mean, I remember it didn't happen. I don't remember. And he's cool now. Hey, he's good looking. People love him.
He feels bad about that.
Yeah.
Thanos told him to do it.
Yeah. Hey, man, leave him alone. Everybody likes him now. He's a hero. You bringing up old shit. Here,
Look at him.
here they openly, and not the movie, the characters, they openly call themselves out. They tell you immediately. They say, yeah, man, we ain't shit. All right. We know it. Y'all know it. Let's not even hide it. We killed for either other people. We killed for personal gain. Shits. This man killed somebody on live TV.
Yeah.
It still don't give a fuck.
It still doesn't really feel like he
Still not taking responsibility for that.
and still got a temper. U.S. agent who's played by
Wyatt Russell.
who is great as the character, but man, he has yet to really show any remorse for that. He's kind of a selfish person. He's still a hothead. He's still ready to pull his gun when somebody says, "Man, you a low rank Captain America." Fuck you say. He's ready to start.
Yeah,
on anybody.
he still thinks he got a raw deal.
Yeah, man. When it's always
somebody else's
somebody else's fault. And that's all they're good at, man. They're good at just being just not very good people, man. They're good at not being very good, and they're good at killing people. And that makes them terrible with family and friends. And while, we don't see them exactly murder innocent people in this movie, we've seen them do it in the shows and whatnot. But while we don't see it in this movie, we've either seen them do it somewhere else, or in this movie right here, they're just all of them are very nonchalant about death. A lot of them have just done it so long that they.
So in some cases it's kind of caught up to them.
Yeah, Yelena, man, she's having this, and I think they wrote her character very well because she has killed so many people. It's finally getting to her. Like she's having an existential crisis.
Right? Yeah.
And she's still killing people, by the way, whether it's by accident or on purpose. But she's
like, hey, it's what I do.
I don't know nothing else.
That's all I know.
Yeah, that is true. And even with this, and again, I say we don't see them really murder a lot of innocent people, but we do see them at their worst. Somebody does something. I was like, damn, that was cold. And I thought that we're gonna come back from that. No, we never do. And yet, I again can't speak for everybody here, but I think this movie will be successful because they took these undesirable, murderous, just not what should be normally unlikable people, and they've made us like them.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I couldn't stand John Walker. And in this, I was like, I think he's my favorite character now. I can't wait for him to come on and do something or say something.
Yeah, I think he's my favorite character too, man. And it's funny because people even call him out on certain things. One guy just said, "Man, listen, straight up, you're an asshole."
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's just,
Yeah.
he's like, that guy won't stick. Like, I didn't start this. That guy's an asshole.
Right, right. Like the guy who's like really just kind of like letting everything roll off his back. And he's just finally like, he's an asshole. And it's like, oh, yeah. Oh, so you do recognize that.
Yeah. But there's a lot of reasons why we do like them. You know, one, the movie reveals troubling parts of their past. And I'm not making excuses for them, but it does humanize them more than what we've seen before, probably. And some of those moments are really dark.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's some parts that they tell you about Yelena that are horrible, man. I mean, even for a PG-13 movie, I was like, that's really cold-blooded right there.
Yeah, especially them coming back to it, say like, "Hey, remember this."
Yeah. Yeah, I think those are some of the best moments in the movie.
Yeah, and you just look. You don't have to make excuses for them, but it is something where you understand that's why y'all are fucked up like you are. Two, they are written in a way that doesn't apologize for their characters. You know, they don't feel phony. And when they don't apologize for how these characters are, when they actually become a team, that doesn't feel phony when they do it.
Yeah, yeah, it was earned, and it took a while for them to, you know, they only team up because they were like, all right, it's in each of our self-interest to do this. But once we get out of this,
Fuck
you're
y'all.
fucking but you know, it continues to be in their self-interest, and they do become a team. But you watch it happen, you know, slowly and naturally, and everything is earned.
You know, and that's a good point, because everything is done in their self-interest. Even as they begin to get along with each other, it's still a little bit of selfishness going on there until they actually like. And it's not until near the end of the movie they're just kind of like, yeah, you know, you all right.
Right.
Yeah, they don't trust each other, and they have a right not to. There's a good reason why they don't.
And they say some awful things to each other at times.
But that was so
But it's
funny,
but
man.
it's well within their character.
It's totally within their characters. It's just something gets said to John Walker, and I was
that
like,
was funny.
and I was like, he just, you know, it was harsh. I was like, God damn.
Man, he catches.
He deserved it, man.
Man, he does, but he catches it the most.
Yeah.
But like he deserves it.
Well, everybody just keep reminding him, you ain't Captain America, and you never will be.
Yeah.
You know, and you never measure up to that man. And it's one thing to call somebody not Captain America, but then they got to say, you know, you are off-brand Walmart bargain bin. I'm like, come on, man.
But he was being an asshole throughout the film too.
No, he was.
When all these jokes were hitting him, I'm like, man, I ain't feel bad for you,
but
bro.
one thing was said to him, and it wasn't a joke, and it was like, God damn.
But
I mean, everything else has been like a jokey insult, but that was just straight up
It was like,
that
come
was,
on.
that was that was a kill shot.
Yeah, y'all aiming real low now. I mean, he gets it.
Yeah.
All right. Damn, leave it alone, man. Yeah, Timu America. But with them tariffs, saying that's gonna be jacked up now. It's gonna be a little more expensive. But 3, the thing that also, I mean, man, I'm sorry, maybe that's 4. I'm always at these numbered points, but number 4, I think, is that you also buy them working as a team because they have somebody worse to deal with. Valentina Allegra De Fontaine. Make sure you put that day on there. And played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, man. Listen, I really like this character. She, you know, watching her, let me see here. I really enjoyed her, man. She's one part Amanda Waller, one part Lex Luthor. I'm sorry, one part Amanda Waller, one part Lex Luthor, and just all just the bitch. Just all.
She's just so snarky. And
all
and
snarky bitch.
Too.
Yeah, and you know,
always want to get her way.
But again, she's probably the worst out of all of them, because she's, you know, everything that she does. These people are disturbed and they just act on impulse. There's things in the past that have made them be that way. And, you know, there's even something that they showed with her in her past, but when they got to show how bad she is, like, I don't care.
Yeah, no. Her flashback wasn't enough to go like, oh, I understand. It's like,
no.
Yeah,
if you've ever seen any of the movies that she's in previously in the MCU, you probably didn't think she was that bad.
Right.
No, and I didn't. I was like, damn, she's awful.
Yeah. She always seemed like, all right, she's a little dark, but
Not
you know,
too bad.
not too bad. But here you're like, oh hell no.
Nah, she's bad, but again, you like her, and I would say you like her because Julia Louis-Dreyfus, she just dives into that role, man.
She does.
And she just loves being this villainous character.
Term.
Oh, let me get the beginning so you can just see how bad she really is.
Less than half a term. Yikes.
See, always
Fuck you,
talking
hoe.
shit. Always,
Like,
Yeah.
fuck you.
always, you know, always taking these real personal digs.
Who is this old Santa?
Fuck.
The Red Guardian.
What?
He have no words. He like, damn, she got me good.
Hey,
I
like,
see that coming.
bet you know who I am.
Well, that look, and of course that's David Harbour.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he's great too.
Yeah, he is great. So the thing that's going on with Valentina is that she's in impeachment hearings right now. She's had some sort of unethical experiments that have been happening, and she hasn't told anybody, and the government has finally caught on. So things get political in the movie too. But going political can either be very dry and not done well when you're in a movie like this, or if you do it right, it could be kind of refreshing to a superhero movie. And the scenes that she has with Wendell Pierce
Oh, yeah.
as Congressman Gary, you know, man, they have some great scenes together.
Yeah.
Those are juicy scenes, and they have some great back and forth and great dialogue going on. Wendell Pierce is great in the movie, man.
Well,
I mean,
every time he's in the movie, yeah.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus is no surprise because if you ever seen, I know a lot of people seen Seinfeld, but you see Veep, you know, that this kind of political back and forth with the insults that's what that show is all about.
Yeah, no, she's great, and everyone has their moment, man. You know, in the movie, that makes them fun to watch. You know, Bucky, he's making the transition from hero to politics. That's fun to watch because it is a little awkward. Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, you know, that existential crisis that she's going through. It's funny at first, and then you really do feel for her. There's a lot of drama that gets brought to it.
Yeah. Also, so much of what happens with her, somewhat Red Guardian, but especially with her, it legitimizes the Black Widow movie. It makes that better because it calls on a lot of it, and a lot of it I thought was in that movie was handled just in a way that was kind of clumsy and silly.
I can see that.
But here, it takes that and goes, no, but seriously though.
Yeah. We keep saying John Walker is our favorite character right here because, again, he's unapologetic. He's been a complete asshole. He ain't changed. If anything, he's gotten worse. But what's funny about it is that, you know, he's disgraced. So he's still trying to be on top. He's trying to find some legitimacy. But it just made him dumber because now he has this just naive sense of patriotism.
Yeah.
Like he's the dumbest out of all of them. Like he's not a dumb guy, but because he still believes in the system because he's trying to make a place for himself, it just makes him stupid.
Trying to make a place for himself. That's a good observation.
Yeah. Ava Starr, who's Ghost, who's played by Hannah John Kamen, man. You know, I think that when she was in the Ant-Man movie that she was in,
Ant-Man 2.
Ant-Man 2.
Yeah,
I don't think that I didn't care for the character very much. She has a lot more personality right here. I thought that was cool. Also, Taskmaster, who's played by
Olga Kurylenko.
Yeah, some of you who didn't like her before, you might find something here that you like about her. Just like with a lot of people here, I think that she's given just a little bit more personality than she was in other films. David Harbour, I think he brings most of the humor to the movie, which I would say I liked it. It was fine with me. I can see where it can get a little annoying to people.
Well, I thought it hovered around being too much at times. As a matter of fact, from the trailer, I was like, shit, this is what this whole movie's going to be about. Thankfully, it wasn't. Like in the beginning, it felt like it's too much. Later, it felt like, all right, this is kind of enjoyable. Yeah. And then he gets some emotional moments. So it's like, all right, well, this all worked out just fine.
And I think with this character, you're right. They right when he starts to cross that line of being annoying, he does have these emotional moments. And also, I think that's the point because he annoys everybody in the movie. So the point of his character is to be annoying and to not really be helping the situation a lot. So, at least he's funny. I think the real breakout here, though, somebody that I really enjoyed here in the movie, more than I thought I would, Louis Pullman.
Boy Bob.
As Bob.
Bob.
Getting so tense in here. I'm Bob.
Bob.
Bob, man. I think there's a lot of emotional moments with these characters, but I think that he is the emotional anchor of the film, surprisingly.
Oh, absolutely. Especially what they do, second half of the movie. The funny thing is, his character in the comics, couldn't stand him. Just the way it was written.
Is he like that in the comics? Like similar powers? And all that?
Powers, yes,
Okay.
yes. But it was just one of these things where they were like, oh, this character's been around all this time, but everybody forgot about him. And it just felt like he was being crowbarred on us. And the things they would do with him, I was like, I cannot wait till we don't have this character around anymore. They did such a great job. But it's so improved
And
what they do in the
They
movie.
made you feel for him.
Oh
too.
yeah, for real.
Because his character, now, if you know anything about in the comics, that's cool. I won't say anything here.
Yeah.
Say that for the film.
Mhm.
But I will say that he's just a sweet guy trying to turn his life around. He's trying to get along with everybody. With these dickheads,
These
who can't,
reprobates.
these people who just can't, they're always arguing. He's always trying to settle things between everybody, but at the same time, he's suppressing some very dark things. And it's like, man, listen to this man, because first of all, he's trying to be cool with everybody, and second, I don't think y'all want to piss him off,
Right.
because the way he just came out of nowhere.
Well, especially when early on, he's like, well, I got some things, and with my mind and some darkness. They're like, oh, look at us, you all right? It's like, no, listen to him.
Yes,
For the worst.
yes. And he brings something. His character brings something that's already a mix of different tones. Because the movie is at times a very goofy comedy. At times it's a drama. At times it's a political thriller. At times it's a superhero movie. And right when it reaches, at some point later on in the movie, right when it starts to reach like its most superhero moment, its most superhero climax, there's a statement about depression. The movie gets deeper. There's a statement about depression. There's a statement and a statement that's slightly about addiction. A character admits that they were addicted to meth.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, wow, I didn't think I'd hear that in a movie like this.
Right.
But that's, this person's a recovering meth addict, and I was like, wow, okay.
Which fits with depression.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. These things only clash really in small parts, but it's amazing that it all works at all. And for the most part, it worked for me. But I can tell you how these different elements came together. It's the script writers, man. Because look who the script writers are. Let me go to IMDb. So one of your script writers is Eric Pearson. Now here's what Eric Pearson wrote.
I was like, what's he doing?
And I'm going to show you what he wrote here. Just, from the 4 movies you can see right here. Thor Ragnarok, Godzilla vs. Kong, Black Widow, Transformers 1. Pretty much genre entertainment.
Marvel,
Anywhere from light to bombastic, big blockbuster, genre entertainment.
Yeah.
Now, Joanna Kahlo, let's see what she wrote. And she's written the episodes of The Bear, or she was a producer and showrunner for The Bear.
Oh,
She was a producer for BoJack Horseman, producer for Beef, producer for the show Hacks. So very different types of things, man.
Yeah.
So the drama and the more grounded elements came from her.
Mm-hmm.
The more cerebral elements. I mean, BoJack Horseman is a movie or a show about talking horse
With depression.
With depression, yeah. And so
She fit perfectly for this.
yeah. So it was the perfect blending of one big genre entertainment person and one person who kind of does deeper, of more dramatic things. It was a good mix, good balance of both. The movie looks great. Now, it's probably not fair to do this, but I would say that, just to put in perspective, it's not as rich and atmospheric as something like Sinners. And I only say that because I saw Sinners on IMAX, and now I saw this on an IMAX screen. By the way, that theater is nice.
Right?
It is. It's nice as hell.
damn,
He wasn't lying with that theater.
There's an IMAX theater. Y'all heard me talk about this theater that I hate. It's called the Gateway. I talk trash about that theater every chance I get. You said it perfectly. You walk in, theater looks like trash. But they got this one dimension that you go to. It's a secret door. That's like going to Narnia or Hogwarts. And it's a beautiful IMAX theater in there.
Yeah.
Very
But
beautiful.
the best seats in town.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Floor is all clean.
Yeah.
Man, I was so happy to know that was near me because I thought I had to drive across town to go see IMAX. So I wanted to. Man, that and it's new, so it has a new car smell.
Uh-huh.
You know, it smells like leather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of small too. If you think about it, it's very
So
small.
but the cinematography in this, while it's not as like I said as atmospheric or rich as Sinners, it's still really good. It's from the cinematographer who did Green Knight.
Oh, okay.
And some other A24 type films, man.
Yeah.
So the movie takes advantage of that.
Yeah, because I think it's a A24 director.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also he directed some episodes of Beef.
Okay. Yeah,
that
because
makes sense.
somebody was telling me what he did. I forgot his bigger movie, but also Paper Towns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
But he had a bigger movie than that.
But man, that robot movie.
Oh, Robot and Frank.
Robot and Frank.
Yeah, but those are really small movies.
Yeah, okay. I guess he did something bigger that I don't know about. But man, if you see it on IMAX, again, like with Sinners, they take advantage of the screen. And it's funny because sometimes I notice that with IMAX movies, they really do play with the aspect ratio.
Yeah.
So when they want you to get really centered on the characters, it becomes more letterboxed. And then when they get into these big vistas or parts of action, the screen gets bigger. And it works well here, man. It looks great. It looks awesome. So I think that if I had any complaints about this, as I said, you could look at this as near the end, everybody's getting their superhero moments, and it's great. We want to see superhero saves. We want to see somebody stop a car before it lands on somebody. That's cool. But I think near the end of it, it starts to feel like a typical superhero climax. And I only say that because while it's deep and it's making a statement about depression, it's wrapped up real quickly. Something big happens, and then everything's kind of okay, kind of, yeah. Also, I like this actress, but I don't think the character was fleshed out very well, and that's the actress Geraldine. Is Jonathan.
Yeah, I just seen her in a Will Ferrell movie.
Yeah, she's good.
Mhm.
But her character, I don't. She switches allegiances sometimes, and it doesn't seem convincing to me the way she does it.
Kind of disappeared too.
Yeah, they use her, but it's kind of sort of as a plot device more than a character. So I'm not saying I didn't like the character. I didn't take away from the movie too much, but if I had to say there was anything weak in there, it's that.
This does not feel like the typical Marvel movie.
And that's the thing. It seems like sometimes they'll bring in indie directors and they have that system and they can just go like, well, you're here for the system. You got to do what this is. And some of them can't really handle it.
This is the movie that people have been asking for ever since.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, ever since Marvel's been kind of in a mess.
That slump.
Yeah, that slump. This is the one. I don't know if it's going to get it out of it, but this is the one that feels like, yes, this is what we're talking about. Now you're getting it. You can keep doing something like this, not this tone or anything like here, but if you can make things more cohesive and keep really clever scripts like this going and great directors coming in, then I think we'll be, they're going to be going to a good place. So I'm giving this a extremely very high matinee. And at that point, like I said, if you go see it at full price, you're not going to be disappointed. My biggest complaint was probably the climax. They were doing such a good job, and that's the part that felt like the formula. But yeah, really, no, I enjoyed myself a lot.
Yeah, way more than I expected to. I'm surprised you had a problem with the climax because even though they do the superhero stuff, then it goes into something much darker, and they go into a resolution that nobody is really doing in superhero.
Well, like I said, that with a lot of superhero movies, things are just they get to the climax and then we got to wrap things up quickly. Well, that's what I felt about
this was something where I thought they spent more time with that than I expected, and they really did get into this dark issue and this emotional core. This is the movie, like everybody's been complaining about the things Marvel does too much, being too jokey, especially so much so that they kill any kind of dramatic tension. And this is a movie that you think is going to do that, and it doesn't. But another big thing about this movie is that there's no fat on it. You get into the plot and it drives forward. There's not a lot of there's no going off on tangents and little jokes, like stop the movie to tell a joke. Everything is always moving toward a direction. So you get caught up in it. And I haven't, I've seen that in like in a lot of non-superhero action movies where they aren't able to stay on target the way this does. Yeah, everything in it works really, really well, and getting you come to like characters that you really don't think you're going to. And seeing it in IMAX was great as well. Yeah, for me, this is a low full price.
Hey, like I was saying earlier, this is not your typical Marvel movie, at least in my eyes. I think one of these things that the movie does well is that it shows that these are human characters. These human characters have personality, they have emotions. But yeah, this movie definitely hit me because of those mental health stuffs. And if you know me, you guys know I'm big on mental health and things of that nature. But man, I thought all the characters were really done well. Red Guardian, definitely one of my favorite characters. But the surprising character, John Walker, or was John Walker, right?
Yeah.
John Walker. Yeah, definitely surprising. And I really enjoyed when they got into his backstory. Because I was like, man, why the hell is he like how he is? And then they showcase it, and I'm like, damn.
right.
Like,
That's real.
And another thing, man, the writing was really done well. I thought, you see some of these Marvel movies, and you're like, okay, how does this? You can watch this movie, but how does it connect to the rest of the universe? Like, how does it flow? Because Marvel is big, cinematic universe. How does it flow? This one actually does a really good job at being like, okay, we're going to flow not only with this movie, but go into the next film or whatever film properties we have. Like, this movie makes sense in the whole grand scheme of things.
It does.
Definitely had a blast. Like I said, a lot better than I thought it would. That stinger, I thought that stinger was hype. And another thing, I thought, like I said, this movie gets you hyped for the next thing. So I go low full price.
Yeah, I think that they've been bullshitting with these stingers.
They have.
Yeah, especially that last one.
They've been wasting people's time with these stingers, and they finally, and I was ready to be mad because I was like, you know what? If I swear to God, if y'all keep me in here for another joke, another ant playing drums, somebody doing something stupid. But no, I'll tell you, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but one was funny. And then one actually is a good build up to something. One that means something.
One that means something, you gotta stay all the way to the end.
It's funny because this movie is the end of Phase 4.
Is it?
Yeah, because I was talking to somebody about it before. They would say this is the end of Phase 4, but it feels like the beginning of Phase 5.
Yeah,
especially how it ends. Yeah, you feel like the beginning of something.
Yeah, no, it does, and I hope what I mean. That's the way you should see it because this does feel like the beginning of something new.
It's been a while since you stuck around, saw the stinger, and got excited. Most times you're like, God damn it, I should have left.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that one part in the movie? I think I heard you laughing at it, but there was a part where
somebody said, "No, this is it's the end of 5." The people are saying, "Yeah, that's what we were saying. That's what he was saying."
Yeah.
No, he was saying that
it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, they were saying that it feels like it should be the beginning.
Beginning of something.
I can see it. And if y'all watch the movie, they have a point. They're actually right. It does feel like that.
There was a part where there was two characters talking. You see an extra just walk by. Did y'all see that?
An extra walked by and stared at them, and everybody laughed.
I was dying.
And it worked. It did work because it is like all these fantastic things are going on, and the extras keep walking like they don't see nothing. And I was like, that's actually an honest reaction.
But it caught at the moment when two characters were arguing, and this woman walked by. She's like, "Damn,
what the fuck going on over here?
Y'all take that shit inside." Yeah, no, that was funny. Man, she needs to be the next Avengers. She ain't got no power. She's just the one that sits back and says, "Damn."
The new Stan Lee.
Yeah. She's the new cameo. The damn woman. Damn.
This is another movie that shows that we can have superheroes in the world, or if we do. Don't live in New York.
I was about to say, I saw
New York.
I saw that. I said it a long time ago. I would, in a superhero world, I would never live in New York.
Right.
Hell, I'd move the hell out.
That's the one thing when I was watching Deadpool. I mean, not Deadpool. It wasn't the one that just came out. TV series.
Oh, a Daredevil?
Daredevil. When I'm watching that, I'm like, where the hell is Spider-Boy at? All this shit going on in his city. I'm like, where the fuck he at?
At Sony.
So Sony said I can't go on.
Yeah.